Tutorial 1, that is accounting cycle topic, a continuation, and in this lesson 6, we are looking at classification of impersonal accounts. More specifically, we are focusing ourselves on a real account. This is with Dr. Geoffrey Mbova of accountingnest.com. Most welcome. Now, classification of impersonal accounts. What about this? Now, these impersonal accounts, as we saw in our previous presentation, is mainly classified into two. That's a real account and a nominal account number 2. Now, before we look at the nominal account, let's go to the case of real account, whereby real account is further classified into number 1, tangible asset account, number 2, we've got what we call intangible asset account. So in our discussion today, we are looking at tangible asset account. So before we go into that, we need to ask ourselves, what is real account? Now, a real account is a chronological record where all transactions associated with acquisition of non-current assets is kept or is recorded. I want you to note this, that you see real account affiliated transactions does not create a debtor-creditor relationship with the business. Take note of that. Okay? Now, further, real accounts are divided into two. That is Roman 1, the tangible asset, as we saw in the introduction part of this presentation, and Roman 2, we have got intangible asset account. So let's go straight away to the case Roman 1, that's a tangible asset account. How do we define this term? Now, tangible asset account is a chronological record where transactions associated with acquisition of physical non-current assets is domiciled or is kept. It is the account associated with the capital expenditure for properties or goods which are visible. For example, we have got Roman 1, office equipment, Roman 2, furniture and fittings, Roman 3, we have got motor vehicles, Roman 4, we have got furniture, then Roman 5, we have got plants and properties, then 6, machinery, and 7, we have got land and buildings. Now, I want you to notice that according to International Accounting Standards number 16, that is IAS, it refers to these non-current assets as properties, plants, and equipment. That is PPE. I want also to note that all these assets has high tangibility characteristics. Then I also want you to note number 2, that from Roman 1 up to item Roman 6, those non-current assets undergo what we call wear and tear process, commonly referred to as depreciation, over usage, over time. Now, depreciation is actually loss of economic value of a non-current asset as it is being used over time. On the other hand, Roman 7, that is land and the buildings, contrarily, they appreciate on usage. In other words, they have their monetary value increase with time as they are being utilized by the business. And that's the reason why land and buildings are further put in a special class of real estate. Okay? So let me take an illustration to demonstrate how a company normally records these non-current assets in their respective ledger account when the company has purchased or has acquired that particular asset. In my case here, I'm looking at XYZ company which has acquired a motor vehicle on 1st November 2022, whereby the motor vehicle acquired was on cash basis and it was amounting to $12,000. And number two, this asset was being used for day-to-day running of the business. Remember, this is not a case of a trading transaction. Now, this motor vehicle has been acquired by XYZ company for the purposes of distributing shop supplies to the customers. So in the general ledger, that is book of XYZ Company Limited, under tangible assets, you realize that the following will be the way the accounts will be presented. That is, we'll have a motor vehicle account whereby we'll have the recording on the debit side as follows. That is on 1st November 2022. We have got cash book or either cash account amounting to $12,000 recorded on the debit side. You see that? So now let's go to the next case, that is Roman 2, the case of intangible asset account. What about this? Now, an intangible asset account is a chronological record where transactions associated with acquisition of non-physical, that is invisible non-current assets, is shown or recorded. It is the account associated with the capital expenditure for invisible properties or goods. For example, we have got two classes, that is A and B. One is in investment in securities, where we have got Roman 1 ordinary shares, Roman 2 preference shares, Roman 3 treasury bonds, Roman 4 treasury bills, and then we come to the second class, that is class B, where we have got cases of intellectual properties. Under this we have got Roman 5 copyrights, then Roman 6 patent rights, and Roman 7 we have got franchise. Now, according to International Accounting Standards number 38, that is IAS, it refers these kind of properties or assets as intangible assets. Now, I want you to note the following. One, that all these assets has a very high, very low tangibility characteristics. In other words, they are not tangible assets. Then note number 2, you should know that Group A, as you can see on the board, undergoes capital appreciation or depreciation, while Group B undergoes impairment or what we call amortization process over time. Now, the illustration tool that I'm using now, I want to show you how we normally present this transaction in the respective ledger accounts as far as intangible assets is concerned. I've taken a case of Entertainment Company Limited, which purchased, or rather paid for copyrights amounting to 1,200 on 1st January 2021 in cash form, so that it can use those rights so as to produce and distribute music products for the next 12 years. So in this case, you realize that in the general ledger or books of Entertainment Company Limited, and the intangible asset, that is non-current, you will find this kind of account, that is copyright account, whereby the amount is recorded again on the debit side as indicated herein. That is, we got cash book amounting to 1,200. This marks the end of this lesson, and thank you so much. Remember, our materials and notes are available in our website accountingnest.com. Thank you.